Well, welcome to Backstage, people. The reason I've come here and I've set this up, Jack Johns is big enough that he's just arrived. Cooper Johns, he went out Thursday, hasn't been sighted since. So basically I'm having to do this, looks like I might have to do this podcast by myself. 1 day a week I get off. 1 day a week, righto, is a Sunday. He can't be bothered to turn up here on time. I've got to do something this afternoon with Matty and Abel and my good mate Phil Bailey. I've got to get there and just knock this over right now. It's midday. I'm out at 1 o'clock, so something I've just had to set up. Hang on, there's a bit of rustling. No, Trisha's singing upstairs. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hey, glad you could join us.
That's all right. If Hosco comes in.
Yeah, now Hosco. How are you, mate?
How are you?
Good to see you. Oh, yeah, for people it's an audio, Cooper's just dragged himself in. Here, Hosco, if you're there, you got the microphone. Just.
Oh, you want to put the mic in, Hosco?
No, thanks.
You're all right. Hey, how's your shoulder, Hosco? Just two nods for good, two shakes for not. That's good. One nod, obviously. I don't know what I'm doing. Can I just say straight off the top, Hosco, what I'm about to say doesn't include you, okay? Because you're not part of this family. You don't really do this. This is purely for you, Cooper.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, and I'm not joking about this. This podcast that we've done together, okay, is a partnership between myself, you. Now, the thing about it is Jack's turned up. At least he's close to on time. I get 1 day off a week, brother. I get 1 day a week. 1 day a week. So I would expect that you had the decency to turn up here and be on time because, mate, I'm going to go do something this afternoon with Nabes and Bales.
Wait, what are you doing? Weights?
Nabes. I'm going to go and do something. I'm going to go to lunch with them.
In my defence, can I say something in my defence before you start having a crack at me?
It's too late.
I blame Zac Hosking.
Why?
I just think bad influence. I didn't even want to have a beer over the weekend.
Okay, let's. Right, we're going to talk about the games in a second. Did you see any of the games?
I didn't watch any, no. I seen the score, though. I saw...
Terrific.
Chookies
What,
won.
did you buy the paper and had a look? Bought the Telegraph and thought, have a look? Oh, geez, where?
No, you get notifications on your phone
Oh, great.
when you win. Well,
Have you had a look at the highlights or anything?
I haven't had a look at the highlights. You can tell me, though. That might make it more interesting.
Let's wind back first of all.
Yeah.
What did you... Now, you left the house midday on the Thursday. This is truly a dog's breakfast. You want to talk, Hosco? You defend yourself?
Yeah. Only speak when spoken to. Thanks,
So
Zach.
you leave the house on the Thursday and you've just walked through there. Talk us through, what have you been up to? Talk us through your Thursday. There was something so big happened that you couldn't come home.
No, we had a boat party on Thursday, and that was fun. That was good.
Where was it? Where was that?
Circular Quay, Darling, in like the harbour there, Sydney.
Okay, who was there? Who went? So you and Jack?
That was me and Jack. Yeah.
Who was that for? Because I mean, look,
that was
let's face it. How much do you get paid? Because you don't do anything for nothing.
No, I did that out of the cons. I didn't get paid for that.
All right.
That
okay.
was. Yeah.
So who was on the boat? What was it for?
My time. It was just some, like our friends. That was our friends' boat. And then Friday, what did we do Friday? We just went down to the Harbour Hilton. Me and
just quickly, wind back.
Yeah.
So okay. So the Friday, you didn't go back in the Thursday night. What did you do on the Thursday night? Well, where were you on the Thursday night?
I think probably the less detail we go into, probably the better. I reckon.
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's move across then. Let's move across to the Friday because So the Friday, what happened?
The Friday, I just went to the Harbour Hilton with Kalen Ponga. He's down.
Right. Okay. So who influenced who? Who was about? You're blaming Hosco for last night. Who you blaming? What is it, Kalen's?
I think that was Kalen's fault as well. And then after,
what was Kalen doing down here?
The night. Well, this leads into Saturday. The Knights boys had like I suppose, what do we call it? Their Mad Monday, Hosco, you reckon? Is that what we would refer to it as?
Probably an end-of-season trip.
End-of-season trip down to Sydney.
Oh, geez, mate, what an end-of-season trip. How much fundraising have to do to jump on a bus and come down here?
Yeah, I suppose that's not really an end-of-season trip, is it?
Friday. Let's talk through Friday again. So you and Kalen go to the Harbour Hilton, the Harbour Hotel. So that's about lunchtime? So where did that... So
12:30?
What happened there that span into the basically you didn't get home that night?
We ended up at a house party. And then we were just...
Whereabouts?
On the Northern Beaches somewhere.
What was their reaction when Kalen Ponga suddenly walked into their house?
They were probably more excited for me, I think.
Yeah, right.
I think.
That's the funniest thing you've said for years.
And then that spilled into a big night. But then we went to the races on Saturday.
Pull back a little bit. Why didn't you come home on the Friday night? Where were you?
Ended up falling asleep on the couch at Kalen's.
Kalen got a house down here.
Nah, he probably could buy
Yeah.
if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach. Are we?
Mate, I'm getting the out.
All right.
Good to see you, Hosco. Hey, listen, congratulations on your season too, mate. You made a real fist of it. And you say you laid the old man meal for us.
Was that a backhanded compliment at Hosco then?
No, it had a great season.
Because he missed most of the year because he only played about 9 games with the shoulder injury. So
they were a great 9 games, Hosco. Did well. Okay, so Hosco's gone. So, okay, talk me through the Saturday because you boys...
went to the races.
Because Trish apparently got your suit and actually drove it to Kaylin's girlfriend's place so you could get dressed and then go because you didn't have the decency to come home and touch base. How'd you get the races?
It's good. I actually I didn't even have a bet. I didn't even have a single bet. I went to the races and I didn't back a single horse the whole day.
Right. How'd you go, Jack? Finger up or finger down?
Thumbs up. Yeah, I think he had a couple winners. One of the boys picked like 6 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Marfu.
Yeah, right. Jack's mate's Marfu.
Yeah,
Had they had the
Marfu?
night? Were the Knights boys at the races? They have a good day.
They weren't there. No, we just caught up with them after.
Right.
Yeah, they were doing their own thing. I don't know where they were.
But we just stayed last night. Finally.
Here.
Oh, you did come home last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was here.
Terrific. Righto. Let's talk some football.
All right.
What do you want to know?
What about first game? Sharks Cows.
Sharks Cows.
How did Nico play?
Hey, I'll say this. People have. There's a little bit going around about Nico. People say Nico was quiet and whatnot. I actually thought sometimes with Coops in a game of football, it's the things you don't do. And what happened? Trindle had the hot hand. Sometimes you just go out there and things are working for you. And so he saw that, Nico, and he just took a little half step back. And Nico just floated around the field, picking and choosing his moments. And I don't know what people sometimes expect from Nico. The most important thing is winning that semi-final game. And you don't know if Nico went out there and really tried to step on Tricky's toes, the result might have been different. He just took a step back, and good on him. I thought that was. I thought that was.
How good did
good?
How because I heard Trindle was. I seen Joey talking on the Sunday show, and he was saying it was like a 10 out of 10 performance by Trindle.
Trindle, best performance of his career, most important performance of his career. He was terrific right from the get-go. The one at the first try, a little bit of ad-lib. He did a grubber through. He was interfered, got a penalty try, and I think his confidence just built from that. Trindle was superb. But, again, I'll come back to Nico. Nico was the perfect deputy because he didn't get up there and fight for the ball with Braden. Everything Braden did, Nico complimented. So for Nico, it was terrific performance. Why did Sharks win? They returned to simplicity. They returned to how they should play. North-south, power direct running, get forward, hit the line hard, play the ball quick, and just build off the momentum. They scored some terrific tries and did some terrific things, Coop. But it all just stemmed off that very simple football that suits their game. Go forward, hit the line, play it quick, get Brayley out of dummy half, and everything starts stemming off that.
Would you say the Cows were bad, or were the Sharks just good?
I'll come to the Cows. There's one thing I just want to give special mention to. The Sharks' outside backs, which are vital to the Sharks, to take the stress off the forwards. In fact, their outside backs, their back five, they lead yardage. We had this, Coops. Mulatalo played one of his best. He was sensational. Combined the back five, they ran for, they'll put it this way, they had over 100 runs.
Wow. Over 100 runs?
Over 100 runs. And that just shows you the nature of the game is that playing simple, had their outside backs get into the middle of the field, and they just toiled away, worked away. They were terrific.
Back to that point before, Cows.
Hey,
were the Cows, did they do a lot wrong, or were the Sharks just a really good side?
Cows come out, I'm trying to think when the first try was scored, maybe around 15, 20 minutes, but Cowboys were good early. Then the back half of the first half, they dropped away. Sharks got momentum. Sharks led 24-0 at half time. played nervous in the second half, the Sharkies. For the first 20 minutes of the second half, they went into their shell. They were trying to protect the lead. Because if you think about this season, there's been a couple of times this season, both times against the Warriors and one or two other occasions, they were ahead by a fair way and got run down. So they played nervously. And the Cowboys' defence in the second half was superb. The way they defended their own try line was, we'll put it this way, if the Cowboys had defended that way this year as a general rule, not an exception, then they would have been still live in this competition. They'd have been at least Final Four.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
yeah. Best on ground,
Yep.
Braden Trindle, said before. Mulatalo, I put him second. I just thought he was sensational, got to his best football. And the third player to talk about, Toby Rudolph deserves a bit of a rap. I thought he was really good in yardage. Did some great runs, bending that line
He's
back.
a good player, Toby Rudolph.
He is a good player.
He is.
He is.
Quirky dude.
Great, very, very quirky. Do you know him well?
Yep.
Had a night out with him. You seemed like you. Was he on the night out? He seemed like you had the last 3 days. You
No.
basically had a beer with everyone.
They were playing. No, he's a good man, Toby. He's loose, loves a beer.
Mm.
I remember that. I don't know if you remember the interview we did where he was talking about going and having. I think he said he was going to go to Nordies and have like 1,000 beers or something. He ended up getting fined for it by the NRL, I think.
Yeah.
But I love that he's a real old school kind of player. Like he would have fit in very well in your generation.
Yeah, I love the fact when he came out that time and said, "Yeah, I've kissed blokes before." He goes, "Mate, doesn't matter." He goes, "I'm a one-stop shop." That was so. He's a great character, mate, special mention too for the Cowboys. Val Holmes was sensational. His final game as a Cowboy.
True, yeah.
He played really well, and I thought Ruben Cotter did some good. They were good in the second half. It was 24-0 at half time. Final score was 26-18, so they won that second half 18-2.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the Cowboys, Coop. They instead of being constant through the game, consistent through the game, they play in bursts.
I really had them as dark horses to win the comp. I think if they'd, like you said, the second half was really good, but if they'd put that sort of performance together for an 80 minutes, which is probably the one knock on the Cows the last couple of years, where they play really good in patches, but they're just not probably consistent enough.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they're not consistent enough. That's been the tale of the tape the last 2 years. Coop, their poor game. Like 2 years ago, they had that sensational year where they were just a fraction away from making the grand final. And then last year, they really dropped off. We've spoken about this before. It's a little bit like the Broncos effect, is that a young team, lots of raps, lots of adulation, contract extensions, upgrades, and they can throw you off balance. I thought they did last year. But I thought they'd get their heads back on and then they would have a serious tilt at this premiership. And they've looked good in patches. One stage, I think they won about 5 in a row, but to me, they've never looked like a contender.
Yeah,
They just haven't been consistent. A little bit like I said last week about the Sharkies. Boys, sometimes just do less. I would say that about the Cowboys, is that I would say to them at times, hey, listen, boys, when we've got the upper hand, that's fine. Let's go. Yeah, guns are blazing. But sometimes when the game's an arm wrestle or we're under the pump a little bit, slow the tempo of the game, kick the ball in the touch, just take the heat out of the game.
Is there anything else in that game?
Nah, that's probably wraps it up a little bit.
That one, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about the Manly Roosters game?
45,000 people, full house.
Was it?
Sold out.
Was
Yep,
it
sold out.
Friday night? Was the Cronulla game sold out as well or not?
No, it wasn't. That was a shame. Next door, they had the Swans.
Yeah.
And so I was happy. But, I mean, what you had there, what you had with in that game, you had out of town team like the Cowboys, and not a lot of fans come down. A couple of reasons for that. The main reason being that the airlines just shot the prices up, fixed the. As they do. Whenever the Cowboys come down here to play, or it's a big occasion, if we're going, if the Sydneyites or Melbourneites or people from Brisbane are going up to Townsville for a game, or vice versa, the airlines, God bless them, just put the air. Like how mean-spirited.
They just do that.
They just do that because they know it's going to be in demand, supply and demand.
If I'm going down to Melbourne this week, I'll be around there. Not going to the AFL Grand Final, I'll be around there for it, but the flights were so expensive.
Yeah, it was
like they obviously just set whatever they want.
They jack them up.
I've never understood, Matthew, that why don't the airline, if you book a flight like the day before, why don't the airlines make the prices low, like for the day before, just trying to fill the plane?
because in occasions like this, like Melbourne Cup Day, Grand Finals, Semi-Finals, they know it's not going to be a problem selling tickets. So the moment that the Cowboys won last week and we're going to come down here, straight away, automatically, they just go bang and push it up. Same with when the Swans went through and qualified for the grand final, the airlines just go whack, knock it up.
That's crook.
So it was disappointing given the fact that a lot of the Cowboys fans didn't come down and understand why. And on top of that was the main rail line taking Sharkies fans to the stadium. There was repairs being done. And the train, a couple of the main trains that people were waiting for were cancelled.
Really?
And so we didn't have a big crowd, which was a shame because the AFL next door did have a big crowd.
Yeah.
But our ratings, I mean, it was in the paper today. Their ratings compared to ours are minuscule.
Oh, really? That game?
Yeah. Even though it was a semi-final, I think this year the average, and this I'm getting this off Buzz. Yeah, right. Is I think on TV averages the Swans it's 23,000 people, as far as Sydney is concerned.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just show you, mate. We're booming. They've had a good year.
Well done. And you're
going down there. Are you going to go to the game? The AFL Grand Final?
I don't know. I haven't got a ticket or anything. I probably won't. I don't think because I'm going to go down there and watch the Storm play because it's Harry Grant, our close friend's 100th game in a preliminary final.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, mate, they get up for those occasions.
Yeah,
Talk about that in a second. Yeah, 45,000 people, Roosters, Manly, fantastic atmosphere. Coops, you haven't seen the game. I'll fill you on one thing. As we know, good starts are imperative in these big games. Sharks last week, the error off the kick-off, and that threw them off balance. Manly, Coop, in the first 20 seconds, both Kohler and Jake knocked out in the first 20 seconds. Kohler couldn't return. It was a bad knockout. Jake did. But that
it's weird. You never see Jake get knocked out. I can't remember him.
No, for a bloke who's a low tackler too, the hits under the ribs. Yeah,
I've never seen him get concussed.
Yeah, he returned to the field, but it did have an effect. Like people say no, but they just got on with the game, but it did have an effect.
Oh yeah,
and when you see your skipper going off.
Yeah, well, I don't even think they would have been unless Jake didn't come back on. They would have been able to activate their 18th man. But
is Jake skipper or DCE skipper?
DCE is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't it unusual? You can be you're the state captain, but you're not the club captain.
I know. Well, this was the first time. Look, I think there was Adrian Lamb and Freddie in the early 2000s. That was the only time that they'd been a captain at the same club in State of Origin. So obviously Lammy and Freddie, they were Queensland and New South Wales, and then Ches and Gerbo did it this year.
Thanks, Midda. Well, hang on a second. Joey and Bedsy. Do you remember that try he sets up in his big comeback return? It goes the New South Wales captain to the Newcastle captain when Bedsy Bedsy was the state captain, Joey was the Newcastle captain.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and then they got to because Joey made the comeback. Bedsy had started the series.
Yeah. Wow, that's bizarre.
Big one for the Roosters. Remember last week they just weren't up for the start of the game and they defended really passively. Mate, they were right up. They were sky high. They were up emotionally. JWH, like the difference he makes in that football side is massive. Talking to Sean Johnson, who was on the show last night as we're recording this, he was saying in the test matches he would look at JWH before the game and he said he's the real pulse of the side and you get confidence from him. And you could see that. He led him. I mean, last night could have been possibly his last game as a Rooster. Joseph Swali'i could have been his last. Luke Keary and Joey Manu, all those blokes were good.
Yeah. Who was your best?
Coops, Tedesco. And this is hot take or hyperbole, whatever you want to say, but it's the truth. I thought it was one of his greatest performances as a Rooster. His 250th game.
Yeah.
Oh, Coops. He was amazing. It was the first try. Was it the first try? First try he laid on for Victor, and I think it was probably symbolic of what he did for the whole game. They're on the attack, and Tedesco just went whoosh as first receiver, sat the A defender on his heels like Bush, and then he just jumped to the B defender, pulled him, Victor under the post. That was Tedesco all night, Coops. He just. I'd love to know his run meters. I don't know. He just terrorised Manly. He was terrific. And, mate, hats off to Victor. Because remember we had Brandon here having a meal the other night, and I asked him, do you think Victor will play? And he went, yeah. He was, I don't know, mate. He said it's a really bad one, and he said he's struggling at training. Well, he got through, Victor.
Was he fine?
He scored a good try. He was good. Sandon Smith was really good, Coops.
Yep.
Sandon Smith. We said last week against Penrith that he would have got, that was vital experience, would have taken a lot out of that game. You know, playing Penrith, in Penrith, first finals game, Nathan Cleary returning, hostile crowd, and made it clearly was, because Sandon was terrific. He scored a great try.
Yeah, I did see the video of that. Did any of the boys at Manly play well?
They had their moments. It was funny. I would not come out and say that Manly were just poor. They were really down or anything like that, because even though that they got beat by a significant score, but it was more to the point that Roosters was just so good. Hamole, you got to have a look at, mate. Put a shot on Lindsay Collins. I've never seen Lindsay Collins hit like that.
Really?
Oh man, he just really he'd opened them up. Right, we spoke about the Cowboys, Coops. For next year. This year, I was really confident they'd be at least top 4. They made second week of the finals, but I think all in all, given the talents of the side, it was disappointing. How would they look at their season? They'd have to be a little disappointed. Manly, as far as next year's concerned, Coops, if I was Soubs, with that side, for them to make the next step, is that I would be doing 90% of my focus in the off-season on defence, because that team is a brilliant instinct. They've got some brilliant instinctive players.
Yeah.
And so they jump in and out of structure quite a bit. You just need a very basic structure they can fall back on or begin the game with, and then you sprinkle that with Tom's instincts, DCE's instincts, and so on, and Brooks's improvement, and they're going to be up there. But the thing is, when you're an instinctive football side and you've got instinctive individuals, that is going to bring errors into your game.
Yeah.
And Manly have not been able to consistently absorb those errors. So if they can work really hard, have a big off-season focusing on their defence, and next year they can go to the next level. I thought, as far as this year is concerned, I thought I'm really happy for Luke Brooks. Yeah. I thought Brooksy's best game that I can think of as a professional, and he fitted in that side really well. Yeah.
Well, I would think that Manly needs. I mean, Ches has probably got in his career maybe 2 more years. You'd think, because he's playing outstanding.
He just never gets injured.
But I think they're going to. I mean, I don't know what their plan is afterwards, but I would think that he's going to be so hard to replace for that, because they don't really have somebody there just who's sort of waiting in the wing. A lot of clubs sort of have someone there.
Who's the halfback that's going to replace? I mean, you might be able to move. If he was to, if it's in the off season, he comes out and says, I've realised that I want to spend more time with the family, I'm done. You move Brooks into 7 and you bring a 6 in. But there's a general rule, generally, if sides are looking for a halfback, man, not a lot round.
There's
one of the greats retired last year,
Yeah.
Well done to you.
Maybe Trindle. Actually, I've seen Andrew Johns, another quote he had. He come out and said...
So it's funny, isn't it? You turn up late to this engagement for our work, yet you spend all your Sunday morning just listening to your uncle.
No, it came up on a clip on social media. He was talking about it. He said right now Trindle could get $800,000 to $900,000 a season. I thought it was a big call.
It's a big call, but supply and demand.
That's what he said. He said there's just no one out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would have loved that.
Best player. We spoke best player.
Tedesco?
Tedesco first. Tedesco second. Tedesco third. He was that good.
Well,
and look, Sandon Smith was terrific too. And I thought Manu was wandering infield, and he and Teddy were working in combination, which we've called for in the last month, and they did. They combined a few times, caused Manly a lot of problems. Manu back through that middle's a big weapon. So next week, Coops, we've got the Sharks and Penrith at a Course Stadium. Going to be Penrith coming off a week off.
Yeah.
Going to be, so hard to beat.
Do you give Sharks a chance?
Well, they're a fighter's chance. They're in the Final 4. They've worked hard to get there. And Coops, they've broken Fitzy, and a lot of those players have broken their finals duck.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that pressure taken off their shoulders. And the other thing, Coops, the Sharks have done very well this year against sides they're not expected to beat. And they've done it. So they'll go there with no pressure on their shoulders. But it'll be a terrific match through the middle. But for them to beat Penrith, they've got to win the yardage game. That's very hard to do. They get Mulatalo, Katoa, Jesse Raymond, and so on. And Iro, mate, Kyle Iro he has been fantastic. He was good again. He was good again the other night, and the week before when they lost, he was the best player. But those players have got to be able to excel against Penrith to give themselves a chance. And Roosters versus Storm in Melbourne. Melbourne coming off a week, tough to beat, but mate, the Roosters are going to be buoyed by that performance.
Yeah, and they have. I mean, there's a big history in the finals between those two. They always have a good matchup, good games, but I don't know. I can't see it not being a Storm Penrith grand final.
Yeah,
it just looks.
We're going to preview that later in the week. But listen, Coop, to finish with, we've had a lot of people reach out to me and say they want more Cooper Johns as Anthony Seibold. Because you blokes weren't here, I couldn't set up the room for a press conference, so you're just going to sit there. I'll be Buzz, you be Siebes.
You know what's funny? Siebes' sister messaged me and was like, your Siebes impression is, I've never seen anything like it. It is so accurate. I just sent it to him. So Siebes has obviously heard it now.
Has he reached out to you?
Not yet. But now I know he's listened to it.
Well, it's Mad Monday. They've been knocked out there. It's a Sunday, but it's their Mad Monday. He might be asleep at McDonald's as we speak. Mate, righto. Mate, Siebes, your thought on the performance tonight?
Yeah. Well,
right.
Thanks, Buzz. I appreciate you asking me that. Look, I think losing Jake Curley was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, right.
For us. I think that was pretty hard for us to bounce back from that. Losing Tolo out there in the centres as well. He was somebody that we really built our performance on last week. So
yeah, right.
He obviously he won us the game the week before with a really good individual try, and that's what you get. And if we're going to be fair and income in this competition, I think we need to have our best players on the park.
Yeah, right. Listen, we know how emotional Jake is after a loss, and how was Jake? He's going.
Good question, Buzz. Thanks for asking it as well.
Yeah, right.
He was really emotional, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was. He was really emotional. And the whole Travojevic family are.
Yeah, right. Good family.
They are a really good family.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for saying that as well.
Really good family. Siebes, thanks, mate, and good luck for next year.
Thanks.
Yeah. Make Happy Meal, too.
Do you reckon you get sick of hearing that? McDonald's jokes? Siebes?
Who gets sick of McDonald's?
No, who hasn't fallen asleep at Macca's?
No, exactly. Good on you, Coops. Go and get some sleep, brother.
Thanks.
Same to you, Jack.
That was tough.
A couple of peanuts.